And welcome back to On the Record. So there's a lot of questions that people are asking.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here, though? You know, I kept saying it. It's putting the community in a hard situation. It's putting the Mohawk Council in a hard situation. Potentially putting the police in a hard situation. You know, with the new law that was passed. I think it was Bill C-21 in regards to the individual rights of the community, individuals opposed to the community. Now that passed, and that may, you know, give the people the opportunity to go more after the Mohawk Council for this. Maybe not as much the non-native, but the people, the natives that are from the community. So that opens the door too. Now, was that looked at? See, I just by reading it and knowing what's going on this much, I guess because of my police background, it opens up a big thing of, you know,
Other issues, yeah.
in policing. We decide that we're going to do something. We sit down and say, what if? We planned the whole thing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
the easy part is the action, but what's going to happen after?
Right.
Who is it going to affect? If it's going to affect other departments, other agencies, or anything, then they need to be on board. This is what we're planning to do. What do you see as a concern or a problem that's going to happen? If, you know, regardless of who that's going to be, and we need to know that part. To just go and kick your door in and to do it. In some situations, yeah, you do that, but in other situations, it's hard to do. And I think that the police have to take a long look at those what-ifs, because although that they fall underneath the Mohawk Council, there's still supposed to be a split, and they still have to uphold the laws of the community, but because they're under the government of the day, and they're under, you know, so the policing codes, they have to follow the law of the land and not do something illegally.
I have a question for you, being a former peacekeeper, which came up because of this eviction thing. The peacekeepers, the Mohawk Council suggested would be involved if they needed, but they understand that they enforce the Quebec Criminal Code, and this is the Indian Act, the federal legislation that they are using as the law. Are the peacekeepers able to enforce the Indian Act?
Technically, they're under the Police Act, which is Quebec,
Yeah.
and they still have to, I guess, follow some of the custom codes or the bylaws that we have within reason. If you look at, for instance, the alcohol bylaw, it's not really enforceable by the peacekeepers because it's a communal law which is not recognized by anybody.
No.
If they do that, then they have to charge you underneath the criminal code. They have no choice. They have to do it.
Right.
That's why more or less they don't do it because it's going to go against
The communal law.
yeah, and then it's a jurisdictional issue. You know, we're saying that we have a law, and then the police go and enforce it, and it becomes something else.
Yeah.
This would come basically to the same thing because it's federal. You know, technically, federal laws are not policed or they're not enforced by municipal police.
Right.
Even though, you know, it's a dirty word to say municipal police, but technically, the peacekeepers, because they underneath the Police Act, they still have to follow specific laws, and federal laws are not one of them. How that's going to play out, I don't know. Like I said, the chief of police is going to have to answer that question or get legal advice from maybe the Crown on what would happen or how that would, because then it puts them in a liability situation.
Right.
So it's tough, you know. Like I said, the easy part is to type a letter, put somebody's name on it, and go and hand it to them.
Bark real loud and growl real loud.
You know,
Just scare them away.
Maybe out of 26, maybe they'll all go, and they won't worry about it.
Right. Yeah.
You know, what are the chances of that?
Yeah.
So it does open a lot of, it does have a lot of questions, and there's still a lot of holes that aren't closed, and I don't think that the council chiefs themselves know what the big picture is, or if they do, maybe that's the ones that aren't supporting it.
Yeah.
So I don't
yeah,
know. I don't know what's going to happen. I guess it's a wait and see when they come and knock on your door. Because I asked that, are they all aware of it? They have to be. Well, that doesn't mean that they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they are.
They all know they should
So,
be here.
You know, and they're encouraging people to call, and if there's non-natives living in a community, to report them.
Wow.
So, yeah,
I guess it would be fun for some
I mean,
people.
they technically is like, well, we're going to follow whatever the community wants, and if there's somebody there and that you think that shouldn't be in a community, you know, call the membership department and we'll look into it. So, you know, I think it was Bobo who said, I don't care who's sleeping in my bed, or you're not going to tell me who I can sleep with or who I can't. Whether or not that plays in, or you know, I guess that's taking things to extremes. But you know, regardless of at the end of the day what's going to happen, this conversation is going to go around, and they encourage that, you know, for people to talk and discuss this. But it's been talked and discussed for a long time. Now that there's an action potentially going to happen, or the ball is already in motion, what does the community do, and how do we deal with it from here?
You know, it's insightful too. You know, this kind of action can, you know, if I'm going to go and kick out anybody I want out of my house, I mean, they didn't pay the rent, I'm kicking them out, call the peacekeeper, I'm kicking, you know, it's an example of how people should act. And it's not right, you know.
Kicking somebody out because not paying rent.
Well, no, I mean, you know, for whatever, if people are just going to start taking action, I'm not going to even give them a letter. I'm just going to, you know. But I mean, I'm talking like I'm maybe seem to be defending non-natives living here in a way. But what I'm doing is trying to promote a better way of doing something that needs to be done if it's decided by the people who should be in control. And at this point, you know, by your own words, Mohawk Council certainly isn't in control of this situation.
I think that I just don't think that they need to maybe do a little more homework.
Oh, a lot more. You know, and they need to begin, like I said in the beginning of this interview, to go back to what the people had said about the issues of membership and residency, about identity and who we are, and go back and discuss the way the people had said things should be done. And you know, I've been, say, accused of, well, then that's your opinion. The way the custom code, where you're saying it's your opinion. It's not my opinion. You know, it was revealed to a few of us by examining very closely and having a lot of intimate discussions with elders about where they're coming from. Why are they saying this? Not only what are they saying, but why are they saying this? So this comes from ourselves, our own culture, our own, how do you strive for having peace in our community, but also mostly ensuring the future of the Wehumwe people, and to that end, Mohawk people. The existence of, say, our language and our culture and our ways, not because we want to be different, not because, well, actually we don't have any rights, but to live in peace, you know, and that's the structure of our government before was made to ensure that happens. That's why.